Welcome back to Super Doc Stories. I'm your host, Dr. Marissa Caudill, and today I am thrilled to be welcoming Dr. Sasha Shillcutt. She is the founder of the Brave Enough Show for Women Physicians. That's a podcast that you should go ahead and listen to. She's also the CEO and founder of the Brave Enough Conference, which is in its 10th year. Is that right, Sasha?
It is, yes.
Awesome. She is an author, she's a professor, she's a physician, and we're going to be talking today about the importance as women physicians of leaning on each other, coming into community, and supporting each other through various, well, what do we say? Like all the phases of life, right? All the
Yeah.
transitions that we
The
go
life,
through.
I call it the life cycle of a woman.
I love that. Yes. And actually, one of my coaches talked about that as well. And she said she's Australian. I don't know if that makes a difference. I just don't think about these things as an American woman. But she said you go through phases as a woman of being a maid, like before you have children, before you
Mm,
partner up, then as a mother, that identity of like becoming a mother, transitioning to motherhood. And for me, my kids are now 9 and 13. So I'm still very much a mother, but I'm also realizing there's going to be a lot of my life on the other side of this motherhood
mhm,
journey that I
mhm,
hadn't spent much of my younger years thinking about or preparing for. And now I'm in that maven transition, which is
mm,
probably our happiest and most productive years between
mm,
45 and 65. That's a long time.
mm.
Um, yeah. So are you there too in terms of your development and where you are as a woman?
I think I am in a really fun, I would say, probably the most um, courageous, brave, and fun stage of my life. And I turned 50 last year. I just had my birthday yesterday. So I just turned
Oh,
51 yesterday.
happy
And
birthday.
thank you. And there's something that was really started happening to me around age like 48 when I was approaching 50, where I I wanted, like, at first I think you just kind of open your eyes to the fact that your half of your life is over. Right, like
Mm-hmm.
it's part of it is just looking at your own mortality. It does, something happens to you in your late 40s where you start looking at your own mortality, which I think is good. And then I heard something that was said to me at a retreat I was at in the fall of 2023 that said, a woman who was in her 70s who had built multiple companies was talking. It was an entrepreneur retreat that I was attending without, and it wasn't physicians. I was the only physician there. And the woman said that when she turned 50, a woman 20 years older than her said, you should think about age 60. And you should think, imagine yourself at age 60 looking back. What is it that you want to achieve in your 50s that if you didn't achieve by age 60 or do at age 60, whether it was a trip, whether it was a relationship, whether it was a job thing or whatever, a hobby that you didn't do by age 60, that if you died at age 60, you would regret.
Mm,
And when she said that, I was like, because the whole point is she said you should do it at age 50 because you're not guaranteed age 60.
right.
And that hit me. And so I feel like the phase that I'm in right now, I am just going for it. Like the minute I turned, as I was approaching 50, I was like, I'm going for it. I am creating the life I want. I'm working as much or as little as I want. And I'm putting my energy into the things that matter to me, even if nobody else gets it. I've lost friendships in the last few years. I've lost colleagues in the last few years that don't understand my choices. And I'm totally okay with that. Like, I'm like, this is who I am more than I've ever been that way in my life.
I think that very much correlates. I'm a psychiatrist, so
Mm,
examining and the data about phases of life and stages of life and development of human beings is very interesting to me. And it's true that like you generally get happier the older
mm-hmm,
you get after your 30s. And that is because of all these reasons you're talking about, that you are more certain of who you are. You have
mm,
more perspective and certainty about like, no, I'm doing this now because I want to. And because I know that the future isn't guaranteed. When you're 20, you can delude yourself into thinking, because it's probably true, that you will always have tomorrow. But once you
right.
get to this age that we're at, you start knowing that's not true. I mean, I'm sure you've
Mm-hmm,
lost friends. I've lost friends, even
mm-hmm,
though we're
mm-hmm,
relatively young.
mm-hmm.
And I hope that I'll be happy, and I hope and healthy. And I hope that this age, I'm on the cusp of 50, but like, I hope that, yeah, this is just the halfway point, but you just don't know, do you?
Right. No, you
Mhm.
don't. And, two things. So I just started a new business and opened up a whole new business this past month, which is a physical space. It's a physical club for women
Nice.
in my community. And it's something I wanted to do when I retired from medicine. And I thought I'm going to do this someday when I start kind of peeling back from clinical work and retire and move out of medicine. I'll do this. But I've always wanted to do it every year. I've wanted to do it for the last 5 years. And I just kept telling myself, no, I'll do it in 10 years. And then two things happened to me in the span of 8 months. 2 years ago. Number one, my brother-in-law died suddenly, and he was younger than
Mm,
me, and
I'm so
died,
sorry.
and our whole family kind of dynamic, shifted. And 8 months later, I lost my house in a tornado. My house, 90% of my possessions. And as a physician, I'm sure you've had this thought where you're driving home. Maybe you've had a really horrible day. Maybe you've had to take care of somebody that has just a tragedy. Like you've just faced tragedy that day
Mhm.
and grief. And you're driving home and you have these thoughts like, at least I have my family. At least I have my husband. At least I have my kids. At least I have my house. And I would always say to myself, at least I'm going home to my house and my family. And I would kind of somehow process the trauma or the grief or the sadness of the day and get that thought out of my brain by clinging to those two things. And
Mhm.
in 8 months, both of those things radically changed or were
Yeah.
gone for me as I knew them. And I thought, why am I waiting another 10, 12 years to do the thing I want to do now? Like, why am I thinking that I should wait? So I stopped putting those things off. And in that way, feel like the phase I'm in now is an amazing place to be. Is it scary? It's really scary. It's very
Mhm.
terrifying. There's a lot of unknown. I know you are a startup founder. You totally get it. You're doing something new and amazing and also probably terrifying that
Mhm.
wakes you up at 3 in the morning. But but I feel like this is I don't have regrets. I don't have that thing anymore. I don't have that thing I'm going to look back and go, "Oh, why didn't I do that?" You know?
Well, tell me about it. Tell me about this space. Where is it, and what's your vision for it?
So it's a physical club. It's called the Legacy Collective. It's in Omaha, Nebraska, where I live, and it's a beautiful. I'm in the club actually right now, in one of the
Nice.
rooms. We have a bar, we have a coffee bar, wine bar, cocktail bar, and then we have food restaurants beneath us that will bring up food for you. It's a membership club where women can come and they can rest. We have a quiet lounge, kind of like a spa room. We have a
Amazing.
beautiful community area where you can work on your computer, meet a friend for coffee or a glass of wine, or you can sit out on the deck with your partner and have food brought in. We have meeting rooms, event rooms, collaborative rooms. We have wellness rooms where you can just work for the day by yourself, but you still have wait staff who wait on you. It's amazing.
I want to come. Okay, so wait, how did you do this? Did you buy the property? Did it already exist in some capacity? Like, how was this your vision for it from the beginning?
This was my vision for it from the beginning. I had to kind of go through multiple iterations of what it's funny. I wanted to build the space I'm in. There's nothing about the space I'm in that I didn't want.
Mhm.
However, I let people, smart people, business people, right, tell me, oh, you should do this. Oh, no, you don't want to do that. And so it kind of morphed itself into a very different space and then came back down to where I realized, like, no, I have to build what I want, because if I don't do what I think we need to do, it won't work, and I can't get behind it, because I can get behind what I know I believe in, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, it's a beautiful space. We built it out. We're leasing the space. It was an empty, just newly remodeled or kind of gutted out space that was for lease, and we took the plunge. So we spent 9 months building
Amazing.
it out. It's brand new. It's gorgeous.
That's so exciting. So is it a membership model, you said?
Yeah, it's a membership
And
model, just
what are
like
the
a country
criteria?
club or
Okay.
yeah.
What are the
Hmm.
criteria for membership?
Well, anybody can be a member. So we have women in tech, we have women in business, we have women in, the entrepreneurs, we have solopreneurs, we have women in the nonprofit space, we have women in education, which is really cool. It's very diverse. And men can be in the club. We want men in the club because we work with men. We have partners that are men. We have clients that are men. So there's business going on in the club. There's fun going on in the club. There's rest going on in the club, but our programming is centered on women.
I love this. I love it so much. So, do you envision this being like a franchisable operation?
We do. Yeah, that's
All
our
right,
plan.
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we can have our next one in Santa Monica, California, where I live.
Yes.
There's a lot of empty office space around here right
Yeah.
now. So, I love this idea. And so, how did you fill the space? So I'm assuming through your work with Brave Enough, you probably know a lot of people, but Omaha is not a huge city, right? Like, what's the population?
It's over 1 million.
Oh, it's
So
pretty big. Okay.
so it's not huge, but it's a good populace. So we have, theoretically 500,000 women in the community. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
So right now we're just getting the word out and building members, just one member at a time.
Nice.
And it's going really well. And the members that are in the space just love it. And I think, I've built my company Brave Enough, which is an international company for women physicians. I've built that for the last decade, and it's successful. I love it. It's my passion. I love helping women stay in medicine and also helping women figure out what part of medicine plays in their life. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you understand that as an entrepreneur, that we are more than one thing. We can be
Of
many
course.
things, and it doesn't mean that we chose the wrong path or we don't love medicine. It's just, I think a lot of times we're moving away from, which I think is good, that being a physician has to be our whole identity. It can be if that's how you want it. But I think we're so much more. We can be so much more, and having the autonomy to do that. So I've built that company, and I love it, and I love what it has allowed me to do, which is meet and see the power of community, and how women, when they're around other women, they just can do anything they put their mind to, whether it's change their FTE, whether it's build a business, whether it's stand up to someone that's maybe toxic in their environment or their life. Women just have such capacity when we are in community. I
Mm-hmm.
think the being a physician, however, just in the nature of being in medicine, is so siloed and keeps us very lonely and isolated. And so what I have built nationally, and with Brave Enough, and the community that I've built there, has really given me the foundation to know how to build a community here in my hometown.
Yeah, I'm sure. And I bet the work in your hometown will be that much more meaningful because it's going to
Yeah.
be people you're going to interact with potentially all the
Yeah.
time rather than just
Yeah.
at the annual events. That's
Correct.
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I love
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah, I actually just came back from a retreat with 10 other women physicians. We went to
Oh,
Africa, to Botswana on safari, and our age range was like 43 to 53. Every specialty, well, not every specialty, but anesthesia, ER, psychiatry, med peds, like, just lots of different women at
amazing.
different stages. It was amazing. And exactly like you're saying, when women come together in community, especially women physicians, the way that we supported each other, I mean, it gives me goosebumps even just remembering
Mm,
our conversations and the amazing experience we had together. I really think the sky's the limit, and it doesn't take a lot of structure. We know in our hearts how to support one another. We know what we need and we know how to give it. And so when you just give people the opportunity to come together like you do and like I
yeah.
had, I think it's so beautiful what can arise from that.
Oh, yeah. It's also really amazing what happens when you just find one, I call them battle buddies.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I like that.
The conference that I do every year, there's this really interesting dynamic where if you are a psychiatrist, so if you wanted to go to a psychiatry CME event or conference, you probably would just sign up and go. You wouldn't think, I can't go to that because I don't know anybody there. But
Mm-hmm.
when you plan a women's retreat or women's conference or women's event, there's this kind of underlying fear as a woman, like, I don't know if I should go to that. I don't know if I'm going to fit in. Who am I going to sit by? Will those be my people? Will I identify with these women? And there's something that happens where as long as you can kind of overcome those limiting beliefs and just show up, like you showing up on this amazing
Yeah.
safari, um, when you show up, all you have to do is show up. You realize that you have so much more in common with the women around you than you probably have differences.
Yeah.
And the walls start, breaking down. I mean, by the end of the weekend of my conference that I host, it's amazing the connections that are made. And everybody leaves with a battle buddy, at least one battle buddy that they can text in the middle of on a Tuesday and be like, I'm having a terrible day, or
Mhm.
and that will say, I hear you, I see you, and I get you.
Yeah. I love the idea of battle buddies. So when Mona, my co-founder, and I started working together, we had met through real estate investing years before and kind of stayed in touch because we were both doing our own private practice things. I had a WhatsApp group called Outside the Box Docs, and she was in there with me and a bunch of other women. And when I had the idea to start Super Doc Tech, I really felt like, I don't know what I'm doing. I want to do this. I really believe in it, but I don't think I can do this all by myself. So I recorded like a little Loom video of myself just kind of rambling about this idea that I had, and I put it in various groups. And Mona was my battle buddy who responded and was like, I'm down to learn more about that. And here we are now, like she's like my work wife, but really such a partnership that's been so
Mm,
beautiful, and a friendship because we really both believe in what we're building. But like you were saying, it takes tons of work to take something like Brave Enough or a startup off the ground and to like know what it's going to be in 5 years or 10 years in your heart, but have these days where you're just like, what are we doing? And
yeah. Oh,
um,
yes.
months where we weren't getting paid anything and just
Yep.
working like double the hours
Yeah.
we would be working normally. So um, it's fascinating to me though, and I see this over and over with the people that we work with at SuperDuck Tech as well, that when you are aligned with something that's exciting for you and new, even though you're working harder than ever, even though you may not be making as much money, you're more excited and energized by it than you were at your old high paid gig.
Oh,
Do you see
yeah.
that too?
Oh, I feel that way in the depths of my soul. I mean, it's interesting because my friends are like, what are you doing? You have
Yeah.
Brave Enough, you work still clinically, and you are still in a leadership position at the hospital, and then you're going to start this club? Like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I am so excited about this that I am investing my future, my money, my savings because I believe in it. And more
Hmm.
importantly, I I know it's the right thing to do. And when you're starting something, you have to have, like, I love that you and Mona are in this together because you have to have those hype people who can be like, we, we, we believe in you. Keep going. We're proud of you. Um, Yesterday was my birthday, and my close friends who are like my hype squad, they were all wishing me happy birthday in our group text. And one of them said, we are so proud of you. And when I read
Hmm.
that, I get emotional just saying it now because,
Yeah.
like, the fact that, like, they've been watching me build this and watching me, like, stress and watching me work after every night and every weekend on this. And they're like, those women saying, like, we are proud of you. You need those people. Like, you need the Monas. You need, she needs you to say, like, we
Hmm.
got this. We can do this. Like, we're in it. You got this. It's just invaluable when you have that hype squad.
100%. Battle buddies and hype squad are necessary fuel
Yes.
to the woman entrepreneur, or just like, even if you're not an entrepreneur, just the woman reinventing herself in a new way,
Yes.
whether it's business or otherwise. Um,
Absolutely.
because these transitions are not easy. Like the reimagination of yourself, shifting into these different phases of life from maid to motherhood, from motherhood to maven. All of these phases are really big transitions, and it can be very isolating otherwise. And I think you're absolutely right that when I came together with those 10 women in retreat the last 2 weeks, we all said the exact same thing. Although we have these moments of noticing how we're different, and feelings come up, envy, annoyance, whatever, inevitably when you're 24/7 with people in a strange place. But we were able to reflect on that and just say, like, how lovely it was to recognize that even with those little differences, we're all so much the same.
Mm.
and we're all experiencing things very similarly, and we really support each other. So yeah, I think it's so great. I think what you're building is amazing. I've
Thank you.
often wished for something. I used to joke like, we need something where like for motherhood phase, you're kind of looking at the new phase that we're in, right? The beyond motherhood phase, maybe. But in that motherhood phase, I was like, I wish there was some place where I could go and like hang out with women and there'd be a place for my kid, like a daycare, but where like I could co-work, like the kids can play with the kids and the moms can play with the moms.
Yes, yes.
But it sounds like what you're building is even better because kids have to be involved.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's great, and the community is so appreciative. Like the women are so appreciative. They're like,
Oh, I bet.
this is amazing, and I'm like, I love that. What I have found in as a business owner is when I'm solving a problem that I have, I'm probably solving a problem that other people have. And
Of
so,
course. Mm-hmm.
just solve the problem. Like,
Mm-hmm.
keep it simple, solve the problem.
And learn from each other, right? It makes
Hmm.
everybody stronger.
Yeah,
That's very
I agree.
cool. So are you having events where like speakers come, or is it
Hmm.
more like a co-working space? What's the
Yeah,
setting there?
there's really there's three there's multiple spaces within the space, and there's three purposes. The first is rest. So we have a beautiful quiet lounge that's like the spa room before your appointment,
Mm-hmm.
where you're
Mm-hmm.
like in the robe and there's fake fireplace and you're like, I
Yeah.
don't want to leave. It's that room. So the number one of the purpose of this space is to rest. It's just to come and put your feet up and take a rest
Mm-hmm.
and have a cappuccino or a glass of wine or sparkling water or hot tea in a beautiful place and get away from the world for an hour or two in between work and soccer practice. And then we have the second purpose is to grow. And so we're having programming, we have events, we have speakers, we're learning about different topics that are meaningful to women. And then the last is connection. So that's happening organically every day because we have co-working areas and we have meeting spaces, and people are just connecting, they're meeting each other, they're helping each other, they're promoting each other's businesses. It's all already happening organically. It's just so cool to see it just by providing the space and providing a safe place for women to do that.
That's amazing. So what is your background? Did you have a background in like women's only education? Did you go to an all-girls school? I'm just curious as you're having all this, like, or did it
No,
naturally
but
just evolve that you're like,
no, but I love that you asked me that question because it's so funny because I have really dug into this thinking this way. I I actually had when I went to pitch Brave Enough, which is now Brave Enough, to my institution. I actually
mm-hmm.
pitched it to my institution because I wasn't thinking like an entrepreneur. I didn't have like an
Right.
entrepreneur background, and I thought I've created this Facebook group and I need to hold a conference, and there's thousands of women in this group and they all want to come to this, hundreds of have said they will want to come to a conference. So I went to my institution, and the response I get was from a man in leadership, and he said that I went to ask permission, like, would you be interested in if I did this? And he said, you don't have any, like, you're a cardiac anesthesiologist and you have like NIH grants. You don't have any background in women leading women, or like you don't have any street cred. That's what he said. And I just believed it. Like I was like, I went home that night and I literally Googled like how to get credibility as a woman physician in women education or women professional
Oh God.
development.
I had no intention
Because
to make you feel
no, but I
less than
love
insecure. I just
no,
think
no,
it's
no. I love that you asked this question because this is I'm sharing this. I love that you asked this because so many people have asked me this question. What I have realized now is that I grew up in a all girl family. I had four sisters
oh
and
wow.
no brothers, and my father traveled primarily Monday through Friday, and so my house was very empowering in the fact that I was surrounded by women, and I say this, we fought, like we had conflict, but we
Yeah.
figured it out. So,
Mm-hmm.
so for me, like I kind of grew up in a sorority house, basically. and and my father was like, girls can do anything. Like, get out there and
mm-hmm.
do it. Like, what do you mean you can't figure that out. You can figure that out. Go figure that out. I mean, he didn't have sons, but he's very like, I would say he has a lot of masculine energy. And I think he transferred that to us because we
Mm-hmm.
didn't have brothers. And there's some studies, I know as a psychiatrist, you probably know that, but like there's some studies that show that if you were raised without brothers, you probably you have a mindset, especially if your father was like very empowering to you and had a lot of masculine energy, you might have more masculine energy. So what I have found myself is I have always found myself to be like kind of the leader of the pack of women. Like I collect, because when I went to college and I would be like seeing this woman argue with this woman, I was like, oh, they're arguing. And then they wouldn't talk for a week. And I was like, why are you not talking? Like I argue with my friend. And then the next minute we're like laughing hysterically. That's normal to have conflict with women. So I've always been a woman who has been surrounded by women in community, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just because of my family of origin. And then I've also been a very empowered woman because I didn't have a brother who my dad would like prop up to do the things. Like it was me. So I I think those two things have always made me be a woman of women. And
Mm-hmm.
when I went to my very closest friend and said, you know, I'm going to start this thing brave enough. I think I'm going to start a company, but I don't have any of the street cred, because I went to this guy and this is what he told me. And she said, what are you talking about? Like you've been leading communities of women since medical school. Like, what are you talking about? Just do it. Like, don't listen to that dude. But it is interesting because we let limiting beliefs of other people, or we think even being an entrepreneur, like I'm sure you have faced this with creating a tech company,
Yeah.
as a psychiatrist, you probably thought like, oh my gosh, I
Oh
don't have,
yeah.
it's funny how we can talk ourselves, or we
All
can let
kinds of
other
imposter
people.
syndrome. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. Well, I love that. And as if you need any other, well, it's interesting. First of all, I have a couple thoughts. So I'm also one of two daughters, not five, but
Yeah. Yeah.
just girls growing up. And I
Okay.
don't actually know the studies. I'll have to look them up now
Oh yeah,
about
there's some cool studies out there about.
girls who are only in families with daughters and what
Yeah.
that does. But I would say definitely my sister and I both have this like we can do anything kind of
Yes.
mindset.
Yes.
Um, and it's interesting. I guess I never really thought about how I now have a son and a daughter, so I don't know if my daughter is somehow like she is probably more feminine than I was as a
Yeah.
child, and maybe that's because she has this masculine energy of her brother who's older to take care of things for her. What will that mean for her? I don't know. But I think as far as my question, I guess I was just curious in part because if I'm honest, I feel like, yeah, I should be doing more for women too, more explicitly. There's something in me
Mm,
that resists that, I think. Um, yeah, because Mona has suggested like we should be more for women physicians, and I don't want to be exclusive. But then I
yeah.
think you're absolutely right that there is a lot of beauty that comes from being exclusive, from leaning on women primarily. And
Yeah.
you don't need any, none of us need credibility. We are women. We've lived it. We are it. Like, you don't need to have some, I don't know what you would have, degree certificate in women's studies or something to be able to do what you're doing, obviously. I didn't mean to imply that. I was just curious, like, where did this certainty that this is what you want to do to be working with women come from? But I guess
Well,
it's kind of in your blood.
I think it's in my blood, but I also think there was a very defining moment in my early career where if you would have approached me in my early career when I was in the trenches every day in the OR working in anesthesia, and you said to me, is there sexism in your department or in your division or in medicine in general institution? I would say no, because I looked around and I just saw everybody working, women, men working, right? And then around year 7 or 8 in my career, I started climbing the ladder. And what I started experiencing was sexism and gender bias. And,
Mm.
then I was really surprised to find out that one of my male colleagues was suddenly getting paid to do work that I had been doing unpaid.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I thought in my brain, like, I experienced sexual harassment early in my career as a woman physician. I don't experience sexual harassment now. I don't, I mean, I would that would be real dumb for some physician that I work with to try to sexually harass me at age 51 when I own a company called Brave Enough. But,
Yeah.
but when I was a very junior, brand new attending, I would get sexually harassed all the time. But all of a sudden, what happened is now I started experiencing gender bias and I started seeing it. It was always there. I just didn't
Mm-hmm.
know it was there because I wasn't a threat to power. I wasn't in leadership. I wasn't I wasn't competing with the men,
Mm-hmm.
right? I was just in the trenches as a worker bee, just showing up, giving propofol, waking people up, taking care of really critically ill cardiac patients. And I started seeing it. I started recognizing it, and I started getting really frustrated and angry about it. And that's also what fueled me to focus on women, is because I'm like, wait a minute, we're not offering the program directorship to Jane, who's on maternity leave because she just had a baby, even though she's been the assistant program director for 4 years. We're going to just give it to this guy who is 4 years younger than her and has never been the assistant program director because she just had a baby. Like it just, I started seeing what
Yeah.
has always been there, but I wasn't aware of it.
So is that a big part of what Brave Enough supports women to do, to navigate those tough conversations in a way that's productive? And you have to be somewhat confrontational, but you have to do it in a way that's also respectful and showing that you are solution oriented, not just angry.
Correct.
Even though it's aggravating, all these examples, and
Correct.
I can think of many, many examples from my own history as well. Um, in part, it's why I left academia, was these things you're talking about, this kind
Mm-hmm.
of undercurrent of, I don't know, maybe calling it misogyny is too strong a word, but it's definitely an old boys club still at many
Yeah.
academic institutions, right?
Yeah.
And women are kind of there. I don't think there's a conscious desire to exclude them, but they are nonetheless often excluded and often pushed, like you were, to positions where you're doing work without getting paid. It's like the extra
Mm-hmm.
work that looks good on your resume, maybe, but doesn't come with any extra salary
Mm-hmm.
or
Well,
status.
and we know from multiple studies that have been proven that women are often asked to do work, assigned work that is not promotable and not paid,
Mm-hmm.
where men get the promotable and paid gigs. And we aren't even asked. Like we aren't even. No one even asks us to do it for a myriad of reasons. And so I I felt like, why is this, this is not fair, this is not grade school, like you score an A, you get an A. Like that's not what was happening here. And I really started feeling like the more I stood up for myself, the more backlash I would get. And then I was like, this is not, I have to have support from other people and other women. So I do the work. There are days where I'm angry. I want to light a match and burn the bridges and walk away. And there are days where I'm just too tired to fight. But most of the time, I find that the work I'm doing is empowering and giving women the words, the strategies, the conversational help to be able to navigate those issues and to fight for themselves.
That's so important and so needed. I really appreciate the work that you're doing. So,
Thank
can you
you.
share with our listeners how they would get in touch with you, where they can find out more about Brave Enough and the upcoming conference? The
Yeah.
details, if you know off the top of your head. I wrote down it's September 24th to 27th, 2026 in Scottsdale. Is that right?
Yes, it's in beautiful Scottsdale. You can go to becomebraveenough.com and find out all about the conference and my next retreat courses. The conference is just unbelievable. If you've never come, you're totally welcome. You can also find me on social media at Become Brave Enough.
I love it. All right. And we'll put all of that in the show notes as well, so that if anyone of you listening want to get in touch with Sasha, you can do that. I'm curious, is your event space available for non-members to rent out or to use?
It is available for non-members to use at a
Mm.
higher price point. Obviously, our members get it for a significant discount. But yes, it is.
All right, cool. Because we're thinking about having our first super doc
Oh,
convention or
yeah.
something, and we don't know where we're going to do it, but maybe
Oh,
Omaha is the
well,
place.
there you go. It's centrally located. People could
I
get
have to say,
anywhere.
I love your like, the rest, the grow, the connection. I love those pillars because I just came back from the safari. And one of the things we were all reflecting on was seeing lions. We saw over like 20 lions. And I didn't know this about lions, but basically, like, they hunt and then they work like dragging what they kill to a place where they can sit and eat it. Then they eat it for a couple of days, but they only eat every 3 to 5 days. So rest is actually the biggest portion of a
Wow.
lion's life. And
Mm.
we were all reflecting that like we don't do enough resting
No, we don't.
and how we've got it kind of backwards because it's always just
Yes.
go, go, go. And what do I have to do next? And really, I think you're more productive in the kill part of your phase of life. Like that's like the productive part of your work, of the action part. We're not lions, obviously, but like, the going, the doing is easier and probably better if we are doing more resting. So I
Hmm.
love that you created this space that has built in like a place to rest.
Yes.
And I think too often we kind of gloss over that self care as like go to the spa, get a facial, whatever. But it's not just those things. It's also just do nothing. Just be
It's
still. Just be
being. It's
quiet.
being. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not doing, it's being. I mean, we aren't human doings, right? We're human beings,
Yes.
but it's so easy to just do. And when you're used to that, it's hard to be. It's hard to sit and be.
It is. It is. And I think for ambitious,
Hmm.
hardworking, entrepreneurial women, especially, it's so hard to just be, but so important. So I
So
love that you
important.
have rest
Thank
as one of
you.
the pillars there.
Thank
Well, thank
you.
you so much for joining us. This was a great conversation. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you for having me.